Thank you very much. So my name is Guillaume Vendroux. I'm in charge of Delmia, and Delmia is a brand within Dassault Systèmes that takes care of manufacturing solutions. And thank you for this opportunity to share with you a little bit the vision we have or the understanding that we have about this forthcoming industrial revolution and the way we see the digital world as one of the key to meet the challenges ahead. Because challenges, we are facing them today. The client base for high-tech product or industrial goods has grown, and now it reaches more than 3 billion people. And at the same time, obviously, the trade generated by this client base has increased, and so it's now 18 trillion. The number 18 is not really relevant, but the problem is it has been rising, or the good thing is it has been rising from 2000 on by 7% a year. So you have a huge amount of pressure on the productions to be able to follow up with that increasing demand. At the same time, the number of products on the market has increased. And now new product introduction is something which is very natural. In CPG, for example, introducing for a large firm, introducing 2 new products a day is normal. You have the same thing for high tech. I mean, even though the product is more complex, the number of new products on the market, I mean, we saw that with phones. I mean, it's fairly amazing. Even in the car industry, today, through the games of option and variant, getting 2 cars, 2 exact same car on the line at the same time, this is something we don't see that often anymore, right? So on one hand, demand is rising, pressure on the production asset. On the other hand, diversity exploding, right? And we see that the old system of the 90s is kind of coming to an end because we see the problems coming in. Production breakdown is increasing drastically, and there is estimation that 5 to 10% of the production capability is eaten by this production breakdown. Why? Because there is no sufficient open times to do the maintenance properly of the asset. We see that supply chain is stressed. I think that was last summer, a big OEM, German OEM, car maker, had to stop one of the line and laid off a few thousand people because he had no part to assemble, right? Which is crazy when you know how much effort is invested in the supply chain. Quality is stressed. I think last year, 51 million vehicle recalled in the United States alone, right? Which is an all-time high. Well, that shows that for any reason, the system is really under pressure. And I believe that this is what is driving this revolution. This revolution is not driven by technology, it's enabled by technology. But the motivation comes from the fact that our current system is at risk. And why so? I believe that, or we believe that, we see a total change in the customer habit, right? We were using to buy products, fine, and we were satisfied with our products. Now we don't want to buy products. We want to buy experience. We want to buy a use case, a usage of that product, and have the experience of using that product in a different context. Well, when we talk about experience, we talk about complexity, because obviously it's not related just specifically to the specification of the object that was designed. It's related to its usage in the context. So additional complexity. And second, well, it's way closer to reality. You have to connect way more either to the user or to the context in which he will use it to understand what he expects and how he's going to use it. So obviously that has triggered, or that triggers some change, because if you talk about modeling, if you talk about complexity, how to apprehend complexity, how can we make sense of this additional thing we need to manage? Well, the first thing is to apprehend complexity, we need to be model-based, because model-based or model is the way we are able to conceptualize what's happening and to understand it better. So to be able to address this change in our buying habit or our expectation, first of all, we need to be much more model-based. But a model works with data, okay? So whatever we do, we need to be way more data-centric than we were. But those data also, those are data that must relate to the field, because the user is in the reality. The user is not in a virtual world somewhere. It's actually in the real world, and we need to connect to it. So certainly new systems which should allow us to better meet the challenges ahead, needs to be connected, needs to be data-driven, and needs to be model-based. A few years back, when we saw that trend about the economy of the experience kicking in, this additional complexity, this additional diversity, connected, data-driven, and model-based, this is exactly the requirement we had for our evolution of our product or suites, now totally carried and supported by the 3D Experience Platform. The 3D Experience Platform is a business platform, which is model-based, data-centric, and connected to the rest of the world, in particular in using and leveraging all those technologies that we've been hearing about the IoT, about the clouds, about a number of things, which makes the connection and the integration of this business platform with the real world way more efficient. So, coming back to our problem in industrial, why do we feel that that type of approach, the business platform approach, again, data-driven, connected, and model-based, will help us solve the challenges ahead? Well, it's more complicated. So we need to understand it better. We need to be able to model. So the first thing we need to do is what the platform does, is connect us to the real world. From that data from the real world, we can use intelligence embedded in the platform to try to understand what's happening and to try to build, and this is the enable part, to build the model of our operation. And here, I'm not talking about modeling a PLC. I'm talking about modeling a line, a product, a tool, a full factory, or a full supply chain. Okay, so the idea here is through the data and through the understanding we can get with intelligence from those data, build models which will duplicate the reality. This is the famous virtual twin. And this virtual twin, running in confrontation with reality, will allow us to take good decision and intelligent decision. So it is the very same concept that was at the core of the platform that we can use to simplify and meet the challenges ahead in this industrial revolution. Obviously, in doing so, in being able to model, we will be able to reconfigure, redesign, resync our whole industrial operations. And that's a great value of the virtual world, is if you have a virtual world which is so close to reality that you are sure that you can duplicate it easily, then in the virtual world you can use it to absolutely fine-tune your operations. You can simulate it. You can virtually certify it. And you can make sure that the way it's going to run will actually deliver the value that you seek. Then once you've done that, you push it to the real world and you execute according to plan. And you use intelligence and model comparison and model simulations to tweak the model on a real time to make sure that it's going to go into the right directions. And you use the model as well to project yourself in the future, okay, in order to anticipate the problem that you have. And you do that in an environment which is totally integrated. And if you do that in an environment that is totally integrated, you get one thing that we all seek: you get speed. You get speed because you can put the design office in the middle of the shop floor. You can put the supply chain at the back of the line, right? Those are the same objects, those are the same information, they flawlessly flow in between all those things. I'm not talking here about fancy interfaces which would push data here and there. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the ability to put the guys who have authored the data with the guys that are using the data. And in that intermediation around the same object to be able to solve the problem that we face in the shop floor every day. So this is what digital continuity brings. This is the speed that it will bring. And the predictive analytics, or the ability with the model to push yourself in the future and anticipate, this will give you agility. And agility will give you the time to solve your problem. Because we all know in shop floors, the problem is not solving the problem. The problem is having the time to solve it. And if you project yourself, if you have the ability through a model-based approach to project yourself in the future because you can anticipate, then you have the agility that you need. So this is really at the core of what we at Dassault Systèmes believe, and this is where we have been driven our development in the latest years in order to be able to provide agility and speed to our clients. So let's go and be a little bit more into the details of things. Here is the landscape or the playground in which we are playing, right? And you see here all the business processes that we aim at supporting and automating and easing. You will see on the bottom left, you will see engineering coming from obviously product engineering, and I put here digital manufacturing. You should understand process and manufacturing engineering in the virtual space. This is about creating, describing the processes that we want to do, and performing all the simulation, all the validation that is needed to make sure that we have designed properly the asset, that we have programmed the robot properly, that we have programmed the NC machines properly. And we can run and simulate, as was mentioned earlier, a full production to make sure that, yes, it does work, right? Yes, there is no bottleneck in the shop. Yes, the flow in the factory is good. When we have defined and configured those operations, and we are sure that this meets our planning, we instantiate those orders, I would say, through the supply chain part, right, which is the upper one. This supply chain part basically take the work order, position it in the shop for execution. And then, and this is the lower right, we execute. And we execute according to plan. And the plan is good, so the execution will be good. And if there is any problem, well, everything is connected, right? So I have a problem, I have a missing part, I reschedule on the fly, and I can solve my problem. Or at least I can mitigate it. And I have a problem of quality, no problem. I'll take my engineering through the objects which raises problem, and I will pull the engineering through the data model directly in the shop floor to solve my problem. So again, this holistic view of manufacturing and the way to have a platform that supports the integrality of it is really critical to deliver the value. So if we go a little bit into the details of the various topics, we will find, so the engineer part for manufacturing relates to the ability to design the operation, plan the operation, simulate those operations in order to make sure that they are executed properly. What value do we get from that? Well, right first time is the first one. It's really critical because normally you have everything certified virtually before, and your model is good. Your model duplicates reality. Hence, if it's good virtually, it's going to be good on the shop floor, and you don't have to rework. You don't have to stop the line to tweak the lines. You just execute, and it should work. Second thing, obviously, in using a digital platform to support the design of the process and the operations, well, you will get efficiency because you will be able to automate some of your business processes and some of the things you need to do, and that will help you introduce more new product in the market with the same teams. And finally, again, as a lot of that work is automated, and a lot of the work, in particular with engineering, is now totally synchronized and integrated. The ability to design new product and to put on the market new product, the lead time to do that is shortened dramatically. So indeed, in using the digital manufacturing part, you solve part of the problem that you have, which is related to the new product introduction, the diversity you have to manage on the shop floor. Once you have that, you need to operate. This is sometimes called the manufacturing operation management space or manufacturing execution space. This is a question of orchestration. You have a plan. You have validated, certified your plan. Now it's about executing it. And executing, actually, I'd rather use the word orchestrate. It's about making sure that the proper people is at the proper space in front of the proper machine with the proper software, the proper parts coming in, and the proper quality check. Okay? And obviously in a machine which has the proper maintenance to perform accordingly to the standard. So here it's really about orchestration of activities, and in doing so, as am I connected to workers, am I connected to machines, I also obtain through that the total visibility real time of what's going on my shop floor. So there is no tunnel effect, no lack of information. And that's really critical when you have to take real-time information or real-time decision in order to mitigate the problem that you have. Here, the key word is manufacturing efficiency, so improving it, obviously. The cost of non-quality, because you can follow up on the quality, and you can use the intelligence of the system to guide you into making sure that the sets of parameters that you have chosen is okay, that the SPC is fine, that everything that needs to be checked and validated are indeed in the envelope of quality. And finally, as it is about orchestration, in supply chain it means just in time. Well, I reduce my inventories, I reduce my WIP, I have more cash, right? So very, very simple, nice orchestration across, but that is really critical, across the whole domain of the shop floor. Not only execution, but quality, but supply chain, but warehousing, everything at the same time. Otherwise, those are vertical solutions, siloed solutions, you lose a lot of efficiency. Final pillar is the optimization. You saw that I put optimization, manufacturing cockpit, whatnot, as the services of the platform, because this is what the platform provides for all of us that are using it. And that allows what? That allows three things. It allows to have the real-time visibility that I was mentioning. It allows you to have back office analytics to understand what's going wrong on your shop floor, either evolve on the model or actually drive actions from the improvement teams to make sure that whatever bottleneck, whatever problems can be solved, and with a lot of efficiency because you can focus on what is important. Third, it provides you with predictive analytics. So you can read through the numbers, through the problems that you have solved, through the quality issue that you record, trends, which will lead you to believe that part of the project or that part of the of your process is not robust enough, or that machine's going to fail sometimes in the future. And as it is connected to the supply chain tools, and I'm here talking about MPS, MRP, scheduling tools, whatever, you are able to react to those unplanned events that you have on the shop floor or to those analytics that you perform to tweak again the way you organize and configure your work on the shop floor in order to meet your schedule. So here, the key words are on-time delivery, the robustness by which you can deliver the product to your client. And if you have a very good on-time delivery, very interestingly, you're going to have suppliers providing you better, right? And this is why I put on-time in full or supply chain performance as a second thing that you can drive and improve. If you're robust in your prediction, if you're robust in your delivery, then your supply chain will become better. And this is something which is critical as well. So in conclusion, we really believe that the role of the 3D experience platform is to bridge the gap between the virtual world in which you can do all your experimentation, optimization, okay, and this is the 3D part of our compass, or our compass, and you can push that to the real world to obtain the maximum value under the guidance of the analytics and the data flow, which will provide us intelligence and visibility. So that's the vision of Dassault Systèmes, and that's what Delmia is trying to provide to its customer. Thank you very much.